I can already tell you guys this is going to be a very entertaining show because we have ESPN's Mark Raimondi already trying to get Jarvis Davis to start wrestling.
Yes.
This has happened.
That's the real stuff, the professional wrestling, like WWE, not that fake stuff they do in the Olympics.
Yeah, man, I'm ready to cut me a promo, man. Come on, man, sign me up. Stop playing around with these people, man. I'm ready to make my debut, baby.
Jarvis is going to put me through this table before the end of the show.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe I'll be surprised. That could be a new segment that I'm unaware of. By the way, you mentioned the Olympics. It's right here on 11 Alive. It's coming up in February. So great plug there, Jarvis.
What a segue.
Great job. Yes. Okay, Jarvis Davis on the far end from all things Locked On Falcons. You're also doing Georgia Tech as well. And Mark Raimondi from ESPN, Falcons only, and the all-knower of everything Falcons. Mark, I want to start with you because you're in that facility all the time. Mm-hmm. You know who else is going to return to that facility on a regular basis? Matt Ryan. He gets named the president of football for the Atlanta Falcons. What do you think of this move by this organization?
I think if you go back to the last time the Falcons were successful, who was the most prominent part, the face of that team? Yeah. It was Matt Ryan. And I like the idea of going back to what worked before. You have a guy that Arthur Blank trusts implicitly. You have a guy who, beyond everything else, beyond even the expertise for the job, we know one thing about him. He lives and breathes the Atlanta Falcons. He lives and breathes the city. He's done so much for the city, and that alone makes him a great candidate just because you know that he's going to do his very best, and he's a guy that you can rely on because he's Matt Ryan. He's Matty Ice.
Yeah, when you think about the Atlanta Falcons, you do think of Matt 100%. Ryan. He's the first person that comes to mind, and he has high expectations for everyone around him, which is why I think he's going to become a very good president. Jarvis, what do you think will make him a great president?
The attention to detail, because to have success in playing the quarterback position in the National Football League is just, it takes so much work. It's probably one of the hardest, most stressful positions that you can actually take in the United States of America when you actually think about it, because I think that Matt is an excellent guy there for this spot because of those reasons, because I feel like when you talk about the structure and how the general manager and the head coach have to report to him, I feel like it's great because Matt can understand the language that they're speaking, and you can't be sold on certain things, because we talked about how Arthur Blank was saying how, great Raheem Morris was in the interview, because Raheem Morris is an excellent salesman. Like have a conversation with him, you're like, oh my God, that was such an impressive guy. But Matt can weed all the fluff out and say, hey, what are you going to do? What is the offensive scheme going to be? If you go on a 6-game losing streak, okay, what are you going to be able to do to get this bad boy turned around before it all starts to fall to crap? So yeah, I think that's one of the things that I feel like Matt is going to do a good job of going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new role for him. He's never been in the front office before. Obviously, that's a big transition from playing on the football field to never having experience in doing this role. However, it's not an anomaly. You have guys that have done this before in the National Football League. I think of Ryan Poles, who's there in Chicago. Look at what the Bears have done. Oh, and by the way, Matt and Ryan are best friends. So he's leaning on Ryan Poles a lot. They were teammates at Boston College. They're buddies. Does this make sense, bringing a former player into the front office, Mark, when they've never had that before?
It makes sense because it's Matt Ryan, right? It's not just any old player.
You're saying it wouldn't work with somebody else, but Matt, it kind of does.
I mean, it's Matt Ryan because he was not the general manager or the coach when he was the player, but for 14 years, he was the leader of this team and this franchise, right? Yeah. So he has that experience. But on top of that, Maria, I think also he's a smart and savvy enough guy to know what he doesn't know, to understand that he is experienced and he will lean on the people that do know, and that's going to be a big part of this process now that they're in where they're searching for a GM and a new head coach. And I think him being at the lead of those processes is key because he's going to bring in the people that he thinks are going to be able to help him the most as well for what he's doing.
Admitting what you don't know is one of the smartest things you can do as a human being. Matt does that a lot, and I think he's going to be fantastic as a president. Obviously, this is a restructuring of a lot of different things. Rich McKay, who has been at the forefront of a lot of decisions for many, many years. He was the CEO. Now he is leaving the football part of things. Remember, he will continue with AMBSC, Jarvis. But the fact that he's getting moved out of the front office with this organization, he and Arthur Blank have a very rich history of being bonded together. This is a move that a lot of people felt like needed to be made. What did you think about getting Rich McKay out of this position?
I think that he's kind of already been out of this position, but I think that there is someone in that place that can take a place of being Arthur's right-hand man or being the guy to help Arthur make those final decisions and being that go between the head coach and the general manager. And I think that, you know, I'm totally fine with that because obviously Rich had a lot of pull with Raheem Morris potentially being hired as the head coach for this team. So I think that it was the right time to get someone in his place when, you know, to kind of replace him from a football operation standpoint.
Yeah, don't forget Greg Beatles will still be in this as well. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add that, you know, this is my second year here in Atlanta covering the Falcons, and I do find it interesting that Rich McKay is like the boogeyman for Falcons fans for whatever reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I have yet to kind of see like the evidence as to why that might be. But I feel like Falcons fans, like, they wake up, they stub their toe. Rich McKay again. I mean, can we give it a rest a little bit? Like, there's other people in those rooms making those decisions. That it's not just, you know, Rich McKay. So I mean, I just find that very interesting that whenever something bad happens, that damn Rich McKay, you know, the boogeyman.
No, you're right. And I think Falcons fans have felt that for a very long time. They do blame him for a majority of different things that have gone wrong, but ultimately Rich will still be a part of AMBSC. As I mentioned, he's going to focus on World Cup and flag football and all the other important things that he was doing. Now, we have talked ad nauseum about Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot getting let go. It feels like a lifetime ago. It was literally 7 days ago, last Sunday, after that final game of the season. Arthur Blank talked for a very long time, Mark, about the decision to let both of those men go. Why do you think ultimately they did lose their jobs last Sunday?
They haven't put together winning seasons. I mean, ultimately, that's really what it's all about in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
You know, Terry Fontenot did not put forth a winning team over 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Five seasons is a decent amount of time, you know, as a general manager to build the team, and they were not able to win and go to the playoffs. And then the Falcons have not as a franchise in 8 years. And a change, you know, needs to be made if you feel that way, if you're so inclined by the owner. And as far as Raheem Morris, you know, it was only his second year, and you know, you can certainly say, hey, maybe you can give Raheem Morris one more year to see if he can figure it out. But you also kind of, and they haven't done this the last couple of times, but you also kind of want that cohesion and that, like, you know, synergy, which is a great corporate buzzword that really doesn't mean a whole lot. But you kind of want to hire the head coach and the GM kind of at the same time so they can share a vision. And that was the big word, talking about buzzwords, like when Arthur Blank spoke on Thursday, one of the things that he said, that Sports-ology, this firm that basically went in and like audited, I guess, the football operations of the Falcons, is that there was no clear vision of what the team and the organization should do and be. Yeah. And if you don't see a vision of what it is, you need to make a change.
Yeah, it's a results-based league, as we know, and also when there is no clear future or vision for the future, things are going to happen.